So we were discussing already the preview or the information that leaked before the announcement, but finally it has been announced, the Lumix S1R II. Let's see together the differences versus other cameras when it comes down to photography and video, so stay tuned. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thomas Love here from One Lens Solely, and today we finally can discuss proper specs and proper information and the aspect of this brand new camera, the S1R II. Now, why am I discussing this? Because as you know, I'm a big Lumix lover. I come from the Leica world. The M-mount alliance is top-notch for me when it comes down to image quality, and I'm also a bit of a fan of the M-mount alliance and of Nikon. You know it. If you follow the channel for a while, you know that I'm only considering those two brands because they give you the best value, at least in my humble opinion. As a matter of fact, when I had to pick up a camera to shoot interiors, I went for the S5 IIx, which is very comparable to this one S1R II, despite this is a brand new camera. The other one was announced a couple years ago, so technology advanced in the meantime, and then we're going to compare the specs and we are going to compare the kind of use you can have with the new camera compared to the old one or to the other models similarly priced in the market. So let's first assess the elephant in the room, price. It has been announced for $3,300 American. Now, I remember when I purchased my S5 IIx, I paid $2,400 Canadian. So that's a bit of a gap in there. But don't worry, because if you intend to keep the camera for a while, let's say at least 5 years, in the very end, the investment will pay it by itself. But when you have to take the money out of your pocket, you also be careful with consideration about pricing and what quality, what features you get in return for the extra costs. This is why I never considered, despite it was top of my list for purchasing, the new body, the Nikon Z8, because in my humble opinion, unless you really make money out of it every single day, and this is not the case for me because I'm a pro, but I don't go shooting weddings or wildlife or landscapes every single day, the Nikon Z8 is very good for image quality, but it's a bit too expensive, at least for my budget. It might not be the case for you, of course. There are shooters out there that shoot wedding with Leica, so every story is apart from the other. Everyone should run his own considerations, but in my humble opinion, Nikon Z8 way too expensive. And then the Lumix S1R II is a bit more expensive than the S5 IIx, which can give you more or less not the same results, but at least you can have the same kind of use for videos and for photography. So both cameras are for hybrid shooters, but I have to say, I have been positively surprised by the S1R II for the low light shooting conditions, because I was assuming that 45 megapixel, since the pixels are way smaller compared to the full frame 24 megapixel, which is the S5 II, would not perform that well in low light. But I have to say, I saw videos recorded with the new model, and I don't know how they made it, but Lumix with that new sensor, 45 megapixel, is on par with the Nikon Z8 when it comes down to photography and image quality, and on par with the Sony A7S Mark III when it comes down to video quality, because the grains are not there, the image, the video that I saw are very clean even in low light. So ISO management top notch for this camera. But let's go and see together all the specs just to be fair, and then we will moving into considerations. So the new specs here, I put side by side the two cameras, the S1R II and the S5 IIx, because they also have a very similar body. This one has a bit of a thicker of a grip, but the size is exactly the same as you would see here. And so for the specs, okay, the different in resolution, each one makes his own considerations if you need 45 or if 24 megapixel is enough. For me, it was enough back then, but let's say Also, ISO management is a bit different because this is a brand new sensor. It's a brand new sensor, ideally coming from Sony, but Lumix, they did not disclose what sensor they are using. And you see the ISO management here, it's great. Still L-mount alliance, and the main difference that I see here, apart from these 50 grams in weight, is that this one was shooting 6K, which is overkill to me already, while the new one can shoot 8K. Now, 8K Open Gate will come with a new software release that didn't disclose when, but it's more than enough for reframing. And you see, it is also a fast camera because it can shoot up to 40 frames per second in RAW when using the electronic shutter. Now, other differences that I can see here for the camera, apart from the resolution, it's more or less the same. The codecs is the same. When I was shooting with my Leica video, I was using the all intra profile, while with the Lumix, I was most of the time using the long up. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just look for it. You will see it's a great thing, a long up. And then here, the other difference that I see is the stab. So up to 8 f-stop stab. My Lumix was already great with 6.5, but here up to 8 f-stop. If you manage to find a glass with OSS integrated, then you are at gimbal quality comparability. And then also for the storage, my one, the S5 IIx, had 2 SD card slots. One here you can go with CF Express as well. And then apart from that, main differences, I don't see any other thing, honestly. It's just a matter of resolution, external SSD recording, which I appreciated already in my Lumix, video recording, no limit because it has the fan integrated, similar to the S5 II. And so it's a really comparable camera. The only difference that I see in there, it's of course the resolution and the screen, which is steamable and flappable and openable and bendable. You can do whatever you want with that rear screen, and also the resolution of the EVF and of the screen itself. All right, let's put it away because it's so boring to compare specs rather than compare the end results that you can get from a camera. Now, why did I switch to Sony? This is a side reasoning, but it also has an impact over the budget. I was not particularly in love with Sony. I'm not a Sony fanboy, but I have to say that when I had to move, I don't know if you follow the channel for a while, but you know, then I moved from Canada to Europe, and so I didn't want to bring all the gear with me because it's so fragile and so expensive to transport, to import, to everything. So basically I sold all my gear over there and have to purchase new gear here. Why did I make the switch from Lumix to Sony? Because for a fraction of the budget, we're talking about half of the price, I had a comparable set. So comparable results, that what matters to me. I still have a great camera body with stable, with video capabilities, with 33 megapixel compared to 24, but that's fine. And with the great AF and with an f4 glass for clean half of the price. Of course, this was new. It was a gift from a friend of mine, so I paid like an embarrassing low price, but the end results that I'm having with this camera are the same that I used to have with my S5 IIx and the 16 to 35 f4 S line that was like a certified glass. While here I'm using a Zeiss glass, still f4. So what I want to say with that is that you need to focus on the end result, what you get out of your camera. Otherwise, you keep investing in new models, but there's no real reason. I mean, if I had to purchase right now a camera, maybe the S1R II would be a great choice because it kind of makes sense for the investment compared to the results that you're having. It's great for photography, it's great for video, it has a very good stab, it has a very good AF, it has an internal recording if you want to record raw file for pictures, for videos. It has several codecs, aspect ratio, everything that you really need from that camera. Also for the audio, you can have professional audio recorded coming from that camera. It really is a little package with everything included. So all the technology that you want to have nowadays, it's over there. And surprise, surprise, first time in a while in a brand new camera, 4K 120 with no crop. Honestly, I don't know how they managed to do it, because the sensor is BSI, but it's not stacked, definitely not a global shutter. I don't know how they managed to have 4K 120 with no crop, with that much resolution, but they do, guys. So it will be 6K 60, 8K 30, but 4K 120 without a crop. How good is that? I used to have a 1.5 crop on my S5 IIx, so this is another great difference in between the two cameras. But is it worth it, the additional 1200 that are asked for the new camera? You manage. In my humble opinion, the S5 IIx was the best looking one, because it's stealthy, and also the wheels on top of the camera, they were not protruding that much, while this S1R Mark II, since it has also the command to switch from video to camera to S&Q, they're a bit higher. It's like comparing, I don't know, a truck with a van. And so it really has to please you. But guys, let me know down here in the comments if you are considering that camera. In my humble opinion, Lumix, it's a great value for the money. And with that, I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, please remember to like it, share it on your social media, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any videos to come. And I guess I will see you later. Thank you. Bye bye.